All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my interview of Jason David Frank. How are you doing, Jason?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on, man.
Thanks. I'm the one over here in the little corner. I won't be able to full screen during this, but just trust me that I'm down here. Uh, I just recently saw you at C2E2, and you're currently touring in Europe. How's that going?
Right now, I'm actually back, but I just went to go see a friend of mine, so it's good. I
Good.
have a lot of Comic Cons coming up, so my schedule quickly shifted there. So I'm looking forward to the first Comic Con back is going to be in Houston.
Okay, excellent. Keeping it in Texas. I like it. So you are the most popular Power Ranger in their franchise, and arguably my favorite. But just for our viewers who don't really know about it, how many seasons were you on? What iterations and what colors did you play Tommy Oliver?
Well, I started as the Green Ranger, and then that was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then went into the White Ranger, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then we switched to Zeo. So I was the Zeo Ranger 5. Then after Zeo, we switched into Turbo, which was the Red Turbo Ranger for half the season. And then when Disney owned it, I went back as a doctor. So I went back as Dr. Oliver, and that was Dino Thunder. And then probably 2 or 3 years ago, I went back to Super Mega Force. And then, of course, the famous Superpower Beatdowns, White Ranger versus Scorpion, Green Ranger versus Ryu, and then, of course, the cameo in the Power Ranger movie. So I've been there a lot, been around a lot with the brand.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot. You covered a couple things that I'm going to cover a little later. But have you read the Boom Studios Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic book? What do you think of that?
Yes, first of all, Kyle was a friend of mine. I saw him at C2E2 4 years ago, and it was great. I mean, I'm nice to everybody. He just came over at the last minute, and I was like, hey, man, I'm about to leave. You want a picture or do anything? He's like, no, just wanted to come say hi. And so at that time, I didn't know he was going to be the head writer of the Boom Comics. I actually enjoyed reading the comics. I told Kyle I wish we went back in the time a little bit and had a chance to shoot that storyline. But I think he's amazing, and I think the books are amazing, and they're tracking well. When I talk about sales, I think it shows for itself. If you sell anything, it means that it's a good product, and I think it's a great storyline.
Okay. So on the show, you said you did several seasons, a lot of different iterations, but you were brought in for your martial arts, and then the acting just kind of came with it. What would you say the balance between the martial arts aspect of it and the acting, quote-unquote, acting part of it was on the show?
Well, nowadays with the newer Rangers, they don't really need martial arts experience because, they don't really allow them to do all their stunts. They have stuntmen. So back in the days, I was probably the only guy to dress in the helmet because we ran out of Japanese footage. So that was actually me fighting Jason in the dark dimension with my helmet on. A lot of the other stuff was Japanese footage, and I always tell people it's not easy being cheesy. That's the hardest thing to do is, sounding just way over the top and, all right, this Ford commercial that we got going, it's a lot harder to be over the top than most of the stuff that I'm used to. And it just worked out, a lot of one-liners, a lot of high energy, although I feel that I gave Tommy a story arc with, the girlfriend, the evil ranger. It had a lot of, get dumped by a girl. It had a lot of different, storylines that I kind of put my teeth in a little bit. And, and plus just being consistent on set, working all the time. That's really what you need. Even as a skydiver, you can't just do it 1 or 2 times. You need air time. So with acting, you need set time. The more you're comfortable, the more you're allowed to be yourself and, act really well. Like my brother who played Zeo, had charisma. He thought my job was easy. And the first day on set when he hit his line, he sounded like an actor, like, hey, you're my brother? It's like, cut. I'm like, it's not that easy, is it? He's like, oh, God, I'm sweating and, I'm nervous and all that stuff. So, as even doing interviews and stuff like that, you put people on the spot and they get nervous. So the acting was definitely, for me, something that I had to learn as far as who the actors were, what Zordon meant. I didn't even know anything about the Power Ranger universe at all. And now it's become a timeline in history. And I'm sure a lot of mega fans want to know some of the answers of a lot of loopholes in the script throughout every season. But I try to keep my character a little consistent to where he goes.
Nice. So you started in martial arts when you were what, 5?
Yeah, I was 4 years old when I started in martial arts.
4.
And yeah, every day I was at the dojo. I mean, I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of TV. I just trained, and I love training now. I just got done training now. You know, if I don't have a bag, I'll kick trees. I mean,
I saw that.
Love kicking and punching. Yeah, I just love kicking and punching, and you know, it's just I think keeps my mind, you know, balanced with everything I got going on, because I have a lot of stuff that I have to balance and without cracking. And I think pressure on anyone creates diamonds, and if you can't handle the pressure, you're going to crack, and you're not going to be a diamond. I don't want to crack. I want to be that precious diamond that's caused by pressure in life.
Now, and it's mostly karate, but what other martial arts have you done?
It's actually a mixed martial arts, which is touching base on a little, you know, taekwondo, kicks, judo, jiu-jitsu, aikido, a little bit of Wing Chun, a little bit of Kung Fu, basically a lot of Hapkido, Muay Thai. So it's really just a mixture. The only way to explain it is if you went to a smoothie shop and you said, hey, put a little bit of everything in there, and it's going to make a great smoothie, you know?
Yeah.
Especially with all the different mixed berries. Now, some might not like one particular art, but I feel if you're cross-trained in a lot of different of them, then at least you could pick your tools when you have to use them in a fight, or you have to use them in self-defense.
Right. And is Rising Sun Studio based on that mixed martial arts, and what spawned your testing practices? Because I know those are a bit unconventional.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the Rising Sun Karate Schools, and then, of course, my online trainmejdf.com is just to introduce the people around the world to that. And one thing I didn't mention is that we're pretty much mastered every weapons. I mean, from single nunchucks to double nunchucks to bow staff to kamas to sickles to samurai sword to even touching base on broadswords in the Kung Fu system. So my guys are highly cross-trained, and it takes anywhere from 6 to 8 years to reach the level of black belt at my school. We don't sell belts. You don't pay for testing fees. When you earn it, you earn it, and this way it keeps the pressure off me to turn my schools commercial. I started a system called Toso Kundo, which means the way of the fighting fist. Ultimately, I teach my kids not to use martial arts, but I want to make sure if you're a black belt of mine, you're not going to go on the streets and get mugged or get hurt. I'm going to put you in the world with not a false security. A lot of people get black belt within 18 months to 2 years. I just feel it's too fast, and I feel like they're just setting you up to fail, not succeed. And it's just my opinion. So at my school, maybe because I have such a mixed martial arts styles, it takes a little bit longer to reach a level of black belt. There are people out there that don't even train that can really protect themselves. But, let's face it, everybody needs training, practices. Cardio is one of the most important things in a fight or a street fight. If you have no cardio, they always say cardio is king in the ring. And it's important to keep training like that.
Yeah, and does that cardio help you with MMA? And how did you become an MMA fighter? Like, because I know that you have Power Ranger success, but what did having your studio kind of spawn into the MMA, or was that just like a singular decision where that was a move in your career?
Well, I always trained. I always fought when I was, little. Our sparring was very hard back then. I was actually a national rated competitor in breaking and in fighting. Those two things. I loved katas. I performed in katas, but I was just a fighter and liked to break bricks, boards, things like that. The fighting was just something I loved to do. And after Power Rangers, MMA was all around, so just decided to get into the MMA scene a little bit. Had a lot of fights, fought for Master Toddy, and then just realized that there's a lot of politics, in the fight world, a lot of politics everywhere around the world. But the cardio not only helps me through the MMA, the cardio helps me on set, especially working for Superpower Beatdown with Aaron and Sean. If you come to set, you need cardio. So the cardio definitely helps me on set as well.
Yeah, and you talk politics, but let's talk religion really fast. What inspired the Jesus Didn't Tap line of apparel for martial artists?
That was something I started for fun. Oh man, it was hard to do it. It was, something, even financially, it was very hard to keep that going. A lot of people didn't want to sponsor it because you mentioned the name Jesus. And for me, I love God. God's changed my life. He has blessed me. And I wanted to put that into the mixed martial arts world. And of course, when Dana White changed all the fighters for Reebok, and even way back then, he controlled what logos you put on the shorts and all that stuff. So that really dampened, I think, the brand a bit. But I don't do the brand to sell shirts. I do the brand deeper than that. The brand's not like an apparel company. The brand is something that lives in your heart. And when you hear it, the Jesus didn't tap, you know that he didn't tap, he didn't give up for you. And at the same time, I don't feel like I'm that type of Christian to judge you and to say that you're living life wrong, because I've certainly done a lot of wrong choices in life. But I think, I represent a Christian rapper, Latham Warlick, and I think he said it the best, that it's not perfection, it's progress, it's progression. And there's no one that's going to be perfect, but it's progression. I haven't drank in 6 years. Not that I had an issue with it. There's things that I just want to cut out of my life. Extra calories, feeling like crap the next day, and it's progression, and just like here for you, I'm super busy, but the reason why I'm doing this for you is because I promised you. I'm a man of my word. A lot of people out there say yes, 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 you'll never hear from them again. So this has been on my mind like every day. I've been like, Nicole, we got to do this interview. So it makes me feel better. And it doesn't matter how many viewers you have. In fact, it doesn't even matter if this is for yourself. The point is, I treat everything equal, and I try to live by those standards. And for me, that's the man upstairs that's putting it on my heart to say, hey, do what you need to do and be that type of person. And I know he's going to watch out for me. You know what I mean? And that's what I like to do, is give to people that I don't expect back. I meet a lot of directors, a lot of producers, a lot of people that freak out over who I am, and guess what? They're leading this film industry, and they will be calling me to do stuff, but I'm not friends for them for that. I'm just a good person to everybody, and I think that's the key in life, is that you have to be a man of your word, be kind to people, and not expect anything, because if you do, you're going to be very disappointed, because not everyone is exactly what they say they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I do really appreciate you taking the time out to do this, because I know that you do have a busy schedule. And now I'm going to kind of segue into Bloodshot, because that was a big part about C2E2 and the big response there. Did the character's violent nature and not so church-friendly portrayal in Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe, did that conflict with your beliefs as a Christian, or did you just think of it as, this is work, I keep it separate from my personal faith, and just kind of roll with the punches, so to speak?
It's a role that was created in the 90s, and it's one of those things where I become Bloodshot. It's a character that I play. No matter what you do or who you play, there's a lot of people out there that are great, like believers in God, great Christians, but it's the character that you play. And you could fool other people by watching them through television or watching them on screen, but the man upstairs knows your heart. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things like I'm tatted up. Everyone out there says if I have tattoos, I'm going to a bad, dark place. There's a lot of beliefs out there that I just necessarily don't believe. I feel that God judges your heart and knows your heart, so it allows me to do different roles like that. There's certain roles that I won't do, but Bloodshot's fun. It's one of those things where it's like it's a comic world. You're not going to really go out there and see a guy walking around like that. I hope not. But we live in a comic world. It's a fantasy world, and for me, that's acceptable. Comic-Cons, everybody that goes to Comic-Cons, we're living in fantasy world, and that's one of the things that I love about this, and I love about my job, is that it's not like I'm going out there and playing a serial killer or dressed up as JDF. I feel safe in there. I feel like I'm a character from a fantasy land, so it feels good, and I know that people support it, and I know God supports it.
Good. Now you said that you mentioned comic books. Before your project with Bat in the Sun, had you read a Valiant comic book, or was that something that kind of snowballed after you got the role?
I would say I'm an honest man. It was something definitely after the role. A lot of my fans, I've steered a lot of my fans into the Valiant Universe. A lot of them didn't hear of Bloodshot. I didn't hear of Bloodshot. But when I started reading the book, I started like, wow, this is really good stuff. And then I started doing research, like how did Valiant, where did Valiant come from? And then I realized, like back in the 90s, Jim Shooter, who used to run Marvel, left to start Valiant. And he has a great understanding of what these characters are all about. I mean, you read it, to me, there's nothing different. They're cool. There's nothing different. You can't judge a DC character, Marvel character, Valiant character. They all are different, but they all have that feel to it. So I started reading Bloodshot, and I started actually becoming a fan of Bloodshot. I was hired for like one episode, much like Tommy, very limited in the episode, very limited acting. Action was great, and now I'm written in the whole entire series because the fans have accepted it. I have a huge fan base. I love interviews, people like you that could spread the message, and I just love branding, and I just like the characters. So I started reading Valiant, and what I like about the Valiant Universe, unlike, I used to be a big comic book collector. I used to collect Marvel. I sold my first comic book collection to actually buy my first karate school, and I sold it for like $11,000 at that time, and I was, 18. So I would buy comics at like 60 cents, believe it or not. So I started reading it, and I started crossing over and understanding that in the Valiant Universe, Bloodshot is where he's supposed to be. Unlike Wolverine is in this universe, that universe, this universe is spin-off. I like Valiant because it's consistent. If Bloodshot goes to this book, he's over here, and then he goes to this book. So to me, it all makes sense. And that's what I like. It's hard when people try to make sense of even Power Rangers. There's a lot of loopholes in every season. It's almost like you can't make sense of it all. And what I like about Valiant and the characters and the cast that they have is everyone is passionate about it. They love their characters, and they actually fit their character. So when Aaron came to me about Bloodshot, I was like, I don't want no favors. I know you're a friend of mine. He's like, dude, I believe in your talent, and I want you to play Bloodshot. So I looked it up, and then when I was dressed up, I literally look like him, I feel like him, and I felt like I stepped right off a comic book.
Absolutely. I saw some footage. It was amazing. And in the description in this article, I'm going to go into, what I saw and some details on the series, so I'm going to skip those questions because I can handle them. But I'm going to skip over to Bat and the Sun because they're the ones producing Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe. You've had previous stuff with them, and I just saw your Green Ranger Rio video, and I loved that. But how is working with an online short video company like Bat and the Sun different from Saban and Lionsgate?
Amazing, man. Amazing. I'm going to start with the first thing. He's a fan. He knows what fans want. And having a director that understands what fans want. If you look at the Green Ranger versus Ryu, I just got off the Super Mega Force set. And I didn't say it's morphin time, nor did anyone say it's morphin time. We didn't have fight scenes in the Mega Force. I didn't have a lot of fight scenes at all. So when I approached Saban, that was Saban approved, the Green Ranger versus Ryu, it made up for everything the fans wanted to see. With Aaron, he's an on-hands guy. He can understand the camera. Joey's great. His dad is amazing. And they're very passionate about what the characters look like to every single detail. To be honest, they're more efficient than the big studios. A lot of big studios waste so much money on stuff that just doesn't make sense. They spend money on, hey, you getting the actors to set? And the other guy on the walkie-talkie, yeah, actors in the wardrobe trailer. Let me get the actors now. Hey, wardrobe. Yeah, this is wardrobe. Half the money's gone by people just talking on walkie-talkies. And with Aaron, he will give you the quality, if not better, than Daredevil TV show. He will give you the quality, and Alvin, who's the stunt guy, is amazing. I mean, always coming up with different stunts. Like, the characters have each specific fight style. So working with Aaron and Sean, I trust them, honestly, with my life. If he's got a script and an action script, I would never question him whatsoever. Would I question other people? Absolutely. Would I question Saban? Would I question other directors? Would I question Lionsgate? Yes, because when I did the first Power Ranger movie at Fox, Fox didn't understand the fan base. Fox made us take the visors out, the mouthpiece out. We shot so many scenes, and Haim Saban came in and said, no. That's not Power Rangers. This is what Power Rangers is. So if you saw the increase, even with Power Rangers, drop because when Disney had it, dropped bad, Saban brought it back, and then rise to the top. And my point is that with CEOs are the responsibility of their company. Aaron and his father are CEO of Bat and the Sun. Dinesh and everyone at Valiant, the CEO, they care. Saban is the CEO of Power Rangers, worth billions, but he cares on what happens to the Power Rangers. So it's a lot different. I would say, definitely a smaller cast or smaller crew, but I'm telling you, on big movies, 90% of them are just, you pay for what you see on the screen. And that's the most important thing. And if you have an actor like me that says, Aaron, I don't care about money. I just want to do something great for the fans. I'm passionate about it. Oh, you stay here later? Will you do your fight scenes? Yep. That's the reason why we have the cast with Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe. We're not all divas. We're not all there for money. We're there to make a good project for the fans.
Good. And you mentioned the Power Rangers film. I know you cameoed with Amy Jo Johnson, who you're appearing with at Motor City Comic Con next month. But did you enjoy the finished product, and where do you see the franchise coming from here? After this, I only have one more question.
No, it's fine, man. You can take your time.
Cool.
I'll be doing a Comic Con with Amy actually coming up in Houston. That's going to be the first one, and then I'm going to be in Detroit with her. We did 2 cameos. The first cameo, I grew my hair out. And Amy, I haven't seen her in 15 years, so seeing her was just like, whoa. I mean, we haven't seen each other, talked to each other. So the first cameo we did, not necessarily going to know how that first cameo was, but I did have long hair. And it depends on how the director was going to make the cameo. It really all depends. People ask me, what was it about? I mean, we shot in the donut shop scene in the movie. Then I went back to do the second cameo. They cut the first cameo, and Brian, who runs Saban, said, no, we need Jason in this movie. We need Amy in this movie, so they brought us back. I was happy because fans walked out and went, yeah. I had other fans walk out and go, dude, the best part is your cameo. I had other fans walk out and go, it was cool. I wish I seen a little bit more fighting. What we didn't see is, it sucked. That was so disappointing. Now, I've had some fans go, they'll never top the originals. The original movie was the best. But overall, it's 2017. Things change. We're older now. I can still pull off the Green Ranger. I can still pull off an Old Man Logan series as the Green Ranger. There's still a lot of things I can pull off. But that's the good thing is that I try to stay spandex ready. And that's what's important, So
yeah.
That's important for me.
Some of us never even started spandex ready, so you're better than some of us already.
Oh, well, thank you.
And finally, you are very present online between your Facebook Live, Twitter, Instagram, and it's massive across all your social media. You interact with fans. Do you think that's simply because you are a celebrity Green Ranger, now Bloodshot, or does it have more to do with your positivity and the way you interact with them? Or is it a combination?
No way, man. I'll tell you what, 90% of the celebrities don't do what I do. I work with so many celebrities that I personally just don't get along with a lot of actors. I feel like, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. My dad was a trucker. I'm almost getting along with the guy that's driving the truck to set versus an actor. A lot of actors, I feel, don't invest in their fans' emotional bank account. A lot of actors expect fans, but as an actor, you have to understand that it's you guys, that are, how many other actors would sit there and go, yeah, I'll do an interview? Very little. How many actors will actually say, yeah, I'll do it, and not do it? A lot. So the whole celebrity thing for me, Kevin Hart is great at social media, and he's a high celebrity, but you have to understand, Kevin Hart is also, he likes to inspire people. Like Tony Robbins likes to inspire people. Some of the cast from Power Rangers, I love what they're doing, but I've been on social media before any of these guys. I've been the first one at Comic-Cons to pay my own way, to buy my own hotel, to take a table and say, I don't want an appearance fee. To this day, I don't take appearance fees. If you want to get something, get it. If you don't, you're going to leave happy. And that's the idea with my philosophy, that this was a hobby for me. And my fans, I love to make happy. I love to invest in their emotional bank account. Because if I need a favor, hey, do me a favor, watch Bloodshot. Dude, we're so happy. You will never forget me. I will never forget you. I'm going to post this on my Instagram and Facebook when you're done. I'm going to post your link on mine, so I will never forget you. We both have deposited in our emotional bank account. Your interview was great. You've asked me a lot of questions that other people haven't asked me. So I think that's what it's all about. It's making people happy. It had nothing to do with the Green Ranger. Man, I started on Facebook. My manager, Brian, my fight manager, told me to start a Facebook. And I was like, I don't even know what Facebook is. And he said, no pun intended, but you're a little green for this. And, yeah, I started my Facebook because of Brian. And then I just realized, man, look what me and you can do. We could. You're like Zordon on my screen, and I'm like Zordon on your screen. You know, we could FaceTime, we could Skype, we could reach to so many people around the world. And one thing too is a lot of people said, well, you know, you don't have to post a lot of good things you do on social media. Man, I do hundreds of good things, but I will tell you this: I will post me pushing a car for one simple reason. Next time you see someone that needs a push, pull over and push a car. And a lot of people said, well, God wouldn't like this, and God, I use my social media power to inspire people around the world. And I'm sorry for every Christian around the world. If God had FaceTime and God had Skype, he wouldn't have to walk around the hills and share the goodness of what God's all about. God would be more powerful with social media. And we were the #1 kids show in the world before Google, before Skype, before FaceTime. We had no outlet. You couldn't even Google anyone. That's why people back then could lie about all their stuff. You couldn't Google it. But nowadays, I use this platform to reach out to people that can't come to Comic-Cons, that reach out to people now that heard me to say, hey, I didn't even really know this JDF guy, but I kind of like what he says, and it inspires me. So I feel like if I can inspire one person around the world, or one person in the room, I've done my job. You know what I mean? And that's the most important thing. So there's a lot of celebrities that don't do what I do. I can't judge why and what they do, or a lot of people have admins and post as admins. Man, I want to see it. You know what I mean? I want to see it. My mom was so into social media. You know, when she passed away, her biggest thing was she loved social media, and she changed a lot of people around the world. When I posted about my mom passing away, I got millions and millions and millions of views and comments. And I know my mom's smiling down there because she cared about people. Every time she woke up with cancer, she was so sick. She said, tell your fans I'm so sorry I can't go on Instagram. I said, Mom, take care of yourself. But then I realized where I got my personality from. Even when my mom was dying, my mom cared about you guys that are out there on Instagram. And it's just caring people that do that. And I love it. And I also love to share what I do to families that don't know me, cousins that don't know me, third cousins that don't know me. It's so hard to have, you know, a relationship with hundreds of people around the world. And what happens to me is I do an interview and people say, well, hey, how come you couldn't just talk to me on the phone for 15, 20 minutes? What makes it special about you that I spend the time? And I tell them it's not about spending time with you. It's about updating the whole world about my life so everyone can watch it and be updated. I like to do that stuff. And social media for me and this stuff, honestly, is therapy. It's therapy. You know what? If it wasn't for this, I don't drink, I don't do stuff, but when life gets tough, I go to Instagram. And it's not unhealthy. It's a healthy thing. And if that's my addiction and it ain't drugs and it's not drinking and crack and everything else, let me have my addiction. And this is what my addiction is reaching out and bettering people around the world. To me, that's my drug, you know, is helping people. I feel good about it.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me. I think you're an inspiration to me personally, just from childhood on, so I just thank you for that. And for Comic Crusaders, I'm Bamfing Bob, and this is Jason David Frank. And go ahead and plug anything you want to right now, anything that you want to give us.
Well, I sure would love people to check out the trailer, Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe. The trailer is now on just Bat in the Sun channel, and we have some big announcements that's happening with the show. So please check that out. And you know what? Join me on social media. I have Instagram and Twitter, JDFFN, and that is my Instagram and Twitter. And my Facebook is Jason David Frank Official Fan Page. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to plug you anything. I just want to connect with you, and I just want to be friends. And that's what it's like. To me, that's what life's all about, and that's the biggest accomplishment I can have.
Well, you connected with me, and thank you very, very much. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut off the recording.